Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Rowell. Alright, I got a little project to do today. We're towards the end of September. We're coming up on Halloween, and as you recall, last year I did Halloween at my house for the first time since I moved to Texas. Now, I have a whole bunch of really cool Halloween props, and there was one of them specifically. It's a 7.5 foot tall monster. Basically, it's a pumpkin head guy that stands in the front yard menacingly, and he moves back and forth, and his head flips back and forth, and it lights up, and he talks and stuff like that. And it's one of my coolest Halloween props. But when I put it out last year, it didn't work. Now there's all sorts of components on it. There's, like I said, there's the animation, there's the vocalization, there's the lighting. None of that stuff worked. And I think probably I have a problem with the power supply. So what I want to do is get this guy out today, put him together, and see if I can figure out why he isn't working and hopefully fix him, because he's too cool to throw away, especially for something as simple as this. So let's get going. Yeah, this is the guy here, and as you can see, he's pretty cool looking. Like I said, he's about 7.5 feet tall, and he rotates back and forth like this. His head goes back and forth, he lights up, he talks, and none of that worked. So we're going to pull this guy down, put him together, and see if we can figure out what's going on. Yeah, so as often is the case with these Halloween props, some assembly is required. So I got to put this thing together. I don't think I'm going to actually put the clothes on it, because I don't need those on it to test it. But we're going to put the framework together, we're going to put the head on, put the hands on, and get it mostly assembled so I can get everything wired up and connected, and then we can go from there to try and figure out what the problem is. Alright, we got him assembled as much as I need to make this work, and when I turn him on, nothing is happening. So there's clearly no power getting to the system. I don't know if it's a problem with the power supply or what, but I think that's the first thing I'm going to try and check. This is the volume control for the speaking. But I'm going to put the power supply on the multimeter, and let's see if that's what the problem is. If that's the case, then we ought to be able to maybe get another power supply and get this guy working again. A 6-volt DC, 100 milliamp or 1000 milliamp power supply shouldn't be that hard to come across. I might even have one. Otherwise, I can probably go find one somewhere pretty easily. So let's put the power supply on the meter, and let's see what we got. Alright, I was hoping this was going to be easy, but there is power on the power supply. So we're going to have to dig into the main box to see if I can figure out what happened. Alright, I've spent a whole bunch of time on this thing. I've taken apart the main processor, I've taken apart the motor, and I don't necessarily see anything wrong inside of there. And I decided, you know what? Ultimately, the monster's head is powered by the power supply. Ultimately going through this device here, but then fed on up to the head itself. And when I plug the power supply directly into the head isn't lighting up. Now that's just LEDs in there. There shouldn't be any problem with that, but you can see it's just kind of blinking at me. This should be on solid. And so that's kind of making me think at this point, maybe we still have a problem with the power supply. It's possible the power supply could be producing 6 volts, but not able to produce the current necessary to power the whole system. I also noticed when I plugged the power supply directly into the controller box here, I hear a little popping sound that's happening basically at the same interval that the light is flashing, which kind of screams to me maybe there is still a problem with the power supply. So I'm gonna, even though I can't verify that that's the problem, I'm gonna actually run over, see if I can find a 6-volt power supply. I don't even know where I'm gonna find one, but we're gonna see if I can maybe go to Home Depot and find something that will work. Or I might have to go over to, I don't know, maybe Best Buy might have a replacement power supply. Even if it doesn't have the right kind of plug on it, I can maybe cut the cable off and reconnect a new one and make that work. So I'm going to continue to go on the assumption maybe that our power supply is the problem, and I'm going to see if I can figure this out yet. All right, I'm back from Best Buy. I actually elected against going to Home Depot. I thought this might be a little bit out of their lane. Even when I went to Best Buy, I wasn't sure they'd have what I need, but they did. They had exactly what I needed. Actually, I was looking for something that was specifically 6 volts DC at least 1 amp of power. And what they had is they had this universal AC adapter that allows you, it's a switchable supply, so you can choose what kind of input supply you want or what kind of output supply you want. And it also comes with 7 different connectors, so you can choose the right kind of connector and choose the polarity and make it work. And at 6 volts, it was giving me 1.3 amps, which is more than what I needed. The old power supply only required 1 amp, so a little bit more isn't going to hurt. And actually I cheated a little bit. I've hooked it up. I set it at 6 volts, attached the proper connector on there with the proper polarity to deal with it, and we seem to be back in business on some level here. So the head is moving back and forth. I don't have the whole thing connected right now, and that's why the lights aren't coming on the head, I think. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the whole thing back together, and let's see if having all the pieces together will make it work right. Alright, so we got him basically all put together right now, and he's on. There's a little motion sensor on his chest right here, and when you get close to him, he comes on. Now I'm noticing at this point that the light still doesn't work in his head, so I might live with that, or do a further work on this. Like I said, depending on where I put this guy, lighting up the head isn't going to be that bad because it's just a couple of LEDs in there, and I ought to be able to power that up pretty easily. Now I'm actually going to put this guy together, put all the clothes on him so you can see what the full effect is, because this guy is pretty cool, and I'm glad that he's working again. I'm glad it was something as simple as just replacing the power supply. That was, I paid about $200 for this guy, and it was good that I was able to fix it for about $20. So let's put this guy's clothes on, and I'll show you what the final effect is on this guy. All right, here's the finished product here. This is what he looks like when he's all together. Still got the sensor on, so when I get close to him, it should trigger him to start going. Now, one of the things I've always been a little disappointed with is the idea that these sensors are the way to go, because unfortunately you turn the lights out when it's dark out, they don't necessarily see anything in the area. So there's several modes to this guy. He's got one of these little step here buttons that you can put on the floor, and that'll accomplish the same thing. Or you can just turn them on and leave them on. Like I said, I still don't have the light going, but what I might end up doing, even if I can't get the light in the head to light up, we might just put like a strobe light on him, and he might look pretty cool that way. I'm planning on, at this point, putting him out in the street, right out in front of the house, so that he's one of the first things that people see when they come in. And if he's just always on, or if I have a step here button on him that can trigger him when I want, maybe I'll put the step here button behind him so that I can trigger when people come up and do that. But Like I said, 20 bucks to fix this guy, definitely worth it. You may have noticed when I had just the framework attached without the clothes on that I have a microphone inside here right next to the speaker of the main unit, and that was something I did a while back. It was a modification I did because one of the complaints I had about him is he just wasn't very loud. So what I would do is I would run a microphone out of the back of him here, plug it into my little block rocker thing here, crank it up, and that would actually make him a lot louder. And so, you know, I would have like scary sounds going on like that, and you wouldn't be able to hear what he was saying over all the noise I have going on. But with the speaker, that worked a lot better. You can hear how much louder it is now. So yeah, that's something that's why that was there. I just wanted to kind of show you that I use my block rocker in the back and basically put it up on a little ladder like this, and that makes them a little bit louder and easier to hear. And that was a modification I made, but I think that works good. But I'm glad to see we got this guy going again. Like I said, this guy was always one of the stars of my Halloween show, and it's good to have him going again. I'm going to have to do a little bit of work on the Velcro that's holding this over the hand, but you know, I could maybe do like a piece of rubber band around there or something to hold that together. That kind of tends to pull itself apart a little bit, but yeah, he's ready to go now. This guy is good for Halloween, so I think we'll end this video right now. So I think that's all that I have for today. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Pleasant dreams.